My wife's secret life unraveled when her phone synced to our new car. I'm Anthony, 34, and my world shattered thanks to a car's infotainment system. I own a small art transport company. Nothing huge, just me and 3 employees who specialize in moving high-value artwork between galleries, private collectors, and museums. I met my wife Rachel, 32, at a florist shop where she worked as the lead designer while finishing her degree in art history. One of my regular clients needed vintage Lalique vases delivered to their daughter's wedding, and Rachel was handling the floral arrangements. We spent hours that day discussing how to safely transport both the priceless vases and her elaborate flower arrangements. Her attention to detail matched mine, and we clicked instantly over our shared appreciation for beautiful, delicate things. After the successful wedding delivery, I asked her out for dinner. That was 6 years ago. We dated for 2 years before getting married in 2019, buying a modest house in the suburbs and settling into what I thought was a perfect life. Rachel finished her degree and landed a job at a high-end gallery while I grew my business steadily. For our 4th anniversary this February, I surprised Rachel with a new SUV. Her old car was becoming unreliable, and I'd saved up to get her something safe with all the modern features. The day I handed her the keys, her eyes lit up like they did when we first met. She hugged me tight, whispering how lucky she was to have such a thoughtful husband. Everything seemed perfect for the first few weeks with the new car. Rachel used it daily for her commute to the gallery, and she loved showing off all the new features to her friends. Then came March 15th, a day I'll never forget. My work van was in the shop for routine maintenance, so I borrowed Rachel's SUV to handle a small delivery. As I was driving down the highway, a text notification popped up on the car's display screen. "Hey, gorgeous. I can't stop thinking about last night. Should we meet at our usual spot next Thursday? I'll book our room again," from someone saved as Brandon Art Acquisitions. My hands started shaking so badly, I had to pull over to a rest stop. I sat there for a moment, trying to convince myself this was some kind of mistake. Rachel had mentioned she was meeting with an art dealer next Thursday about acquiring new pieces for the gallery, but something about that message felt suspicious. The car system had saved their entire message history. With trembling fingers, I started scrolling through their conversations. What I discovered made me physically sick. I just shook my head. For the past 9 months, Rachel had been meeting this Brandon person at an upscale hotel halfway between our city and Philadelphia. Every business trip to view potential artwork for the gallery was actually a romantic getaway. I read message after message, each one worse than the last. She even talked badly about me, telling her AP how easy it was to fool me because I was too trusting and always focused on work. Rachel had told him how exciting it was to live this double life, how the secrecy made everything more thrilling. I sat in that rest stop for 3 hours, reading through months of their deception. My phone kept buzzing with messages from my employees about the day's deliveries, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. Finally, I called my lead driver and told him to handle everything for the day. I drove home in a daze, my mind replaying every business trip Rachel had taken over the past year. All those times I'd driven her to the airport, kissed her goodbye, and wished her a successful trip. She wasn't viewing artwork. She was meeting her lover in expensive hotels while I worked to build our future. I took screenshots of key messages from their conversation and saved them to my phone. Then I waited. Rachel came home around 6 p.m. with a smile on her face as she walked through the door. She stopped dead when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table. "You're home early," she said, her voice already showing signs of concern. The car's infotainment system saves all synced messages, gesturing to my phone with the photo showing of her conversation with Brandon. Her face went pale as she realized what I meant. Anthony, I can explain, she started, but I cut her off. Explain what? How you've been sleeping with Brandon while pretending to be at gallery meetings? How you created these fake notes and venues to cover your tracks? How you both laugh about what an idiot I am? Rachel collapsed into a chair. It's not what you think, I interrupted and said, that's BS. Really? Because I think it's exactly what these messages show. You're having an affair with an art dealer from Philadelphia. Brandon and I, it just happened, she said, tears starting to fall. Things just happened, like booking hotel rooms in advance, like planning your lies. I never meant to hurt you, she sobbed. But you did, Rachel. Every time you lied, every time you left for one of your trips, every single day for 9 months. I was going to end it, she pleaded. She got out of the chair and tried to walk over to me. I told her, don't come near me. I said, end it? Like next Thursday when you're meeting him at your room? I asked. Rachel's makeup was running down her face now. Please, can we talk about this? She begged. I want you out of this house by tomorrow. All of a sudden, she said, fuck you. I am not going anywhere. I don't have to go anywhere. This is my house too. The house that I make the payments on while you spend money on hotel rooms with your boyfriend. That shut her up for a second. I've already called a lawyer. You can keep the car. I don't want anything that reminds me of how I discovered your betrayal. Anthony, please, we can get counseling. There's nothing to counsel, Rachel. The trust is gone. Every business trip, every late night at the gallery, every weekend art show, they were all lies. Not all of them, she said quietly. That almost makes it worse, I replied. Then we got into another shouting match again about her leaving. She still insisted that she wasn't going anywhere. Then I gave her a death stare. Then I snapped. I told her I would shoot her if she didn't leave. Then she shut up. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and started packing her clothes into suitcases. She followed me, still crying and making excuses. Each item I packed reminded me of times I'd bought her gifts, celebrated her successes, supported her career, all while she was building a relationship with someone else. I found receipts from restaurants in Philadelphia, stuffed in her jewelry box, a burner phone taped under her dresser drawer. The discoveries kept coming, each one twisting the knife deeper. You really planned this out, didn't you? I asked, holding up the burner phone. Rachel stopped trying to explain and just stood there, defeated. By midnight, her essential belongings were packed. I have booked you a hotel room for tonight, I said, handing her a reservation printout. She took the paper without looking at me. What about the rest of my things? She asked. Your brother can come get them tomorrow while I'm at work. I really do love you, she whispered as she headed for the door. No, Rachel. You loved the life I provided while you played house with Brandon. The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings and paperwork. Rachel moved in with her brother while we began divorce proceedings. Word spread quickly in the art community about her affair with Brandon. Brandon, her AP, as it turned out, he had a fiancé. His fiancé discovered everything when Rachel's sister accidentally tagged him in a social media post. One marriage and engagement destroyed because of their selfishness. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Rachel tried reaching out constantly, sending long emails about her regrets. I never responded. Everything went through our lawyers. I sold the house. Couldn't stand living there with all the memories haunting every room. Found a smaller place closer to my warehouse. Threw myself into expanding the business. 6 months after the discovery, I heard through mutual friends that Rachel and Brandon's relationship imploded. Apparently, once the thrill of sneaking around was gone, they realized they had nothing in common except deceit. Brandon reconciled with his fiancée, leaving Rachel alone with her ruined reputation. She took a job at a small gallery in Detroit, trying to rebuild her career far from the mess she'd made. I focused on my business, adding art installation services to our offerings. The company grew faster than ever. Turns out heartbreak is a great motivator for working long hours. 1 year after the car incident, I got a call from Rachel's sister, Jennifer. Rachel's been in therapy, she said. She wants to know if you'd consider meeting for coffee, just to talk. There is nothing to talk about, I replied. The time for talking was before she started living a double life. Jennifer sighed heavily. She really has changed, Anthony. Good for her, I said. But I'm not interested in being part of her redemption story. I hung up and blocked Jennifer's number. 2 weeks later, a thick envelope arrived from Rachel. Inside was a check for half the value of all the hotel rooms and fancy dinners she'd shared with Brandon. Also included was a handwritten letter apologizing for every lie, every betrayal. I tore up the letter, but I kept the check. I could use that money to pay some bills. Some trust can't be rebuilt with words on paper. 18 months after discovering Rachel's affair, I met someone new. Tanya owns an antique bookstore downtown. We met when I delivered a collection of rare art books to her shop. She asked me to stay and help organize them, which turned into dinner. Unlike Rachel, Tanya is completely transparent. Her phone password is my birthday. She shares her location with me voluntarily. Sometimes she hands me her phone to take pictures, not worried about what messages might pop up. It took me a long time to stop flinching every time a notification appeared on a screen. But Tanya's patience helped me learn to trust again. Last week, I sold my old company and started a new venture with Tanya. We're opening a combination art gallery and rare bookstore. Rachel still sends Christmas cards every year. They go straight into the shredder, unopened. Some people say time heals all wounds. I say time just helps you build stronger walls around the scars. Yesterday, I drove past our old house. The new owners have painted it blue and planted different flowers. It looks nothing like the home where Rachel and I built our life of lies. I felt nothing but relief. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to the best beginnings. That car's infotainment system didn't just expose an affair. It freed me from a life built on deception. Now, when Tanya and I talk about getting married, I know it will be built on something real. Because sometimes you have to lose everything to find what's genuine. And sometimes a simple technological feature can change the course of your entire life. Well, this is the first story I have narrated where the car you are driving exposes your partner's infidelity.